welcome everybody to No Room for Comfort podcast. I am your host, Jesse Waterhouse, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with me this evening. If you're watching this podcast right now, I am streaming live on YouTube and Twitch. You can also find all of my episodes on Spotify, and I also have a Discord server, hashtag No Room for Comfort podcast, if you would like to join in on that chat. And if you'd like to follow me, I am also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you have any questions about the topic that I'm going to talk about tonight, please email me at noroomforcomfortpodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you have any interest of being a live call-in guest on the episode or an episode in the future, again, that is noroomforcomfortpodcast@gmail.com, and I would love to have that conversation with you. This is a podcast that has to do with everything that deals with positivity and self-control and self-worth and anything that you can think of that would attribute to a positive lifestyle or bringing yourself into a mental space that gets you into like a positive attitude. So let's dive right into today's episode, which is going to be the topic of animosity. Now, the reason why I chose animosity for this week's topic is because for a lot of people, animosity can be a discouraging thing. So, in order to understand why animosity can be a discouraging thing in some people's minds, we must first define animosity. So the best way to define animosity, at least in my mind, is to kind of talk about an example of what animosity would be. So in a lot of cases, you'll typically see this as it relates to people in their workplace. So let's say that you're a very hardworking employee, and you show up to work every day, you show up on time, you do your best, you take care of the people that you need to take care of, you do your job very, very well. But you also have somebody else within that organization who's a hard worker and does, a lot of the same things that you do in relation to work ethic. But the gratitude from other people or people that even people that you may admire end up gravitating towards that person over you. And that can create animosity, and it's unintentional. Another thing is, so let's say you have a position where it's completely different from the person that is gaining gratitude towards the people that you feel like you should be recognized by, and you aren't. And they are doing things differently, or they aren't doing things with as much effort. So let's say that you're in a position where it almost feels like you are, or the organization that you're with depends on you. And the other person isn't necessarily so, or they're able to do things that you're told that you aren't able to do, and you feel like that you should be able to do them, not to be able to just get away with whatever you want. I don't necessarily mean that, but they're able to get by with certain things and you aren't. And all the while they're being praised, while if one thing of your expectations aren't being met, you're almost being scolded, or you aren't recognized or validated for what you do. And that can create animosity. And again, that is unintentional and possibly not personal towards the person that's receiving that gratitude, the gratitude that you might be seeking. And you get these feelings of resentment towards them. And that is how we would define animosity, because you feel like it's unfair. So this is how the result of that could cause animosity to become a discouraging thing, to make you feel like you aren't quite worthy or that you're being taken advantage of. And there are some situations where it is very possible and that you are being taken advantage of in circumstance. It's important to recognize that. But what is also important is to also recognize that animosity doesn't have to be a discouraging thing. It can actually be fuel. It can be an encouraging thing to you. It could be thought of in your mind as encouragement. How could it be encouragement? Well, for one, and this is something that I will always gravitate towards. If there are things that are happening, if you're taking action towards things and things are happening, if they are in your control and if they're in your control, you cannot let the feeling of animosity overwhelm you. You can't allow what is happening with that person to dictate what is going on with you, because you can have things going on in the background that you are working on for yourself, and that is what is called change. So what I'm trying to get at is, if you have those feelings of animosity and you are feeling discouraged by the way treatment towards another person is versus the treatment towards you, what you are not in control of is what others think and feel about you. What you are in control of is making change to your life for the better. Oh, if you don't feel the way that you would like to feel, you have abilities to change things. If you feel like you are being taken advantage of, well, a good thing to do doesn't mean you need to confront someone in an aggressive way about the way that you feel like you are being treated. But it may be a good idea to actually have a conversation with whomever you feel like you need results from as far as validation, and you should just sit down and talk with them. And it doesn't mean that you need to beg for validation. What it means is, especially like somewhere in the workplace where you feel like, okay, well, these are the things that I've been doing. My review is coming up. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to list the things that I have been doing for my organization and the ways that I've been helping them, and then offer them as a suggestion in the form of ideas, and use yourself as an example. Because putting yourself out there in a positive manner, in a confident manner, isn't going to hurt you in any way. There may be enough going on with the person that isn't recognizing you completely that it just went right over their head. Maybe they just didn't notice some of the things that you were doing. But if you verbalize this to them, if you make it be known that this is what you're doing and you continue to practice those actions to those standards, by bringing it up to them, they're going to observe at that point because it's putting it on their radar. And it could be a very positive thing for you. So putting it on their radar will give them the ability to actually recognize you in the first place. So like I said before, the animosity that was formed was unintentional because it could be oblivious to the person that you're hoping will notice what you are doing. And on the other hand, it wouldn't be a good idea in my mind to negatively react to the person that you feel animosity towards. So if things are happening and not being in control of your emotions and lashing out at them and making comments about them isn't going to help the situation in any way, shape, or form. And the reason why that is because you have to recognize as well that that person is also not in control of the way someone else thinks or feels about them. They too are just taking action in their lives, and it happens so that they became recognized for their actions. If they are abusing the case, however, well, that is something that's in their control. That's something that they possibly may be taking advantage of. If they're abusing it, they're taking advantage of it. And that too is something that is not within your control. So why waste your time caring or worrying about what actions someone else is taking against the validation you seek? If you look in on yourself and you focus on what you need to do, it could be things outside of your life, because the more that you pay attention to the distractions that they are causing, the more those distractions are going to distract you from future opportunity. And if you pay more attention to future opportunity rather than the actions or thoughts of others that are not within your control, then it is going to take you away from the opportunities that present themselves to you more often than you could ever imagine. So, boil it down to something simple. Stay within your own emotional realm. Take control of your life. And recognize what is in control and what is out of your control. If you do those things, the opportunities that you haven't been able to find before or haven't been able to recognize before are going to all of a sudden present themselves to you. And I shouldn't say that they're going to present themselves to you. You definitely have to look for them. But this is going to open your periphery to those opportunities much further if you're able to understand what is in your control and what is out of your control, and to not allow animosity to take control of your life. Now, if you recognize that you are feeling animosity, it is a great, how should I put it? It is a great speed bump to a negative reaction. It allows you to kind of slow down and think about what is happening. It allows you to slow down and think about, you know what? This is happening for them. And instead of feeling negative or wanting to lash out at them, try this once. Try feeling good about it. Try feeling happy for them. Because, in a lot of cases of these feelings of animosity, that person is also putting in effort. Some cases they aren't. If they aren't, it's not worth your time to worry about it. They have their own lives to live. You have your own life to live. Try not to worry about it. If in the case that they are putting in the same amount of effort and a good effort, feel happy for them. Because if you feel happy for them and you're like, you know what, they can do too, people are going to recognize a positive attitude and a negative attitude. And I would feel in a lot of cases, like if you have a positive attitude, people are just going to, this aura of people, the aura that people are feeling around themselves, they're just going to, it's kind of going to uplift them naturally, organically. It's just going to happen. Some people may recognize your positive attitude, but if you have a negative attitude, that is really, really, really going to stick. If you feel negative and you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're feeling hurt and you're feeling angry, whatever your mind is starting to manifest is going to lead you down a path of more negative things to come. Because you feel these feelings of animosity and it's going to drain you and it's going to distract you. So eventually it's going to affect your performance in different aspects of your life. If you're in a romantic relationship and you feel animosity for one reason or another, say it's because of, it could be something with the in-laws, it could be something with your own parents, with the partner you're with, and you were hoping that your father would feel a certain way about you, but your partner is all of a sudden getting the attention that you thought you would receive. Well, here's the deal. It's all about perspective. And the thing is, like, the parent that you feel you're feeling animosity towards your partner because the parent of yours feels this certain way or thinks this certain way, and you thought that they should feel that way about you. Well, what does it all matter? Because in that situation, you've got parents that love you, otherwise, hopefully they love you, because otherwise it wouldn't be in your life. So they're always going to love you, and they're always going to expect a standard of you. And even if you don't meet that standard, they're still going to love you. And it is a good possibility that they are just reaching the point of acceptance towards your partner. And that's where the praise comes in, because they too want your partner to come into the fold and love them the way that they love you as a child, and the way they want to love their future son-in-law or daughter-in-law. And the animosity wasn't intentional. So if you flip the script and you make that a positive thing, and you embrace the fact that, the parents love my spouse for this, they love my partner for this, I should be very proud, I should be very happy about that. If you put it in that positive light, it's going to uplift your relationship. It's going to make things so much smoother and so much better. So the whole point to the conversation of animosity is to not feel discouraged by it, but to feel encouragement that it is granting you the ability to find positivity in it, to find rest in it. It also gives you the ability to make sure with yourself that you recognize what you are in control of in your life and what you are not in control of your life. What would be famously spoken as serenity. And what you are in control of. And if that thing that you are in control of, you have choices that come with being in control of it. But the responsibility falls on you when you're in control of it. You are accountable for how you react when you are in control of it. When you are in control of that feeling of animosity, you are in control to turn it into an encouraging, positive thing. You can bring the people around you in your circle into a higher plane with you, a higher aura with you, when you are in control of that. But you can also drag them into a negative, muddy spot. And what happens when you do that? Well, those people will typically find distance. Those people will become distant with you because the resentment becomes reciprocal when it becomes negative. But you are in control of that. So if you turn it into a positive thing and embrace what is happening and give yourself the choice of positivity, better things will happen for you. Manifest the idea of it. You don't fully need to go along with whatever is happening, but you can be happy for that person. And that's it. It's like you are cutting the corner off of a page. It happens so quick that you can feel happy for them. Feel happy for them. Boom. Now, change comes. If I want something different, I can make the change. That's what I'm in control of. That's the animosity, the feelings of animosity I'm in control of. Now, if there are things in your life that pertain to animosity and you are not in control of them, like I was saying, the way other people feel or think, that can be an encouraging thing too. And the encouragement lies within not being overcome by that, not being overwhelmed by that. Because sitting there and dwelling on the way someone thinks about someone else is not going to allow you to move on further in your life and make the changes that you are in control of in your life. And to me, that seems like it makes sense. I've had feelings of animosity in my life plenty of times. And being able to circumvent that came with maturity It came with acts of wisdom, and it came with recognizing that I can make changes in my life as well. I don't need for people's validation all the time. I realize who's become important to me in my life, and it's a beautiful thing. I've realized who I've become important to. And I've recognized what love is through people and people's love for me. And the more you try to resist that, the more you try to become the person, the reaction of the person you're not in control of, the more you'll find out that certain people around you will become distant and possibly confused by the way you're reacting, at the very least, if not your persona as a whole. And the more you just try to be yourself, it's like shedding layers of an onion. You'll end up finding out that the more you are yourself, because you've recognized what you are in control of, you recognize that the opinions and the thoughts of others don't directly affect what you're manifesting, the positive things you're manifesting for your life. Once you realize they don't directly affect that you can take them in perspective and use them as suggestions, use them as ideas for your change, but still remain true to yourself. Just be real. Be fucking real with yourself. It's amazing how free you can feel. It's amazing how encouraged you can feel by feeling real about yourself and being real to other people. Because I think that's what other people are that's what are going to attract other people towards you, and that's what's going to attract opportunities to you. As long as the opportunities that you happen to seek happen to be on a positive note and happen to be the ones that you have in mind in your own life. Using animosity as encouragement can also definitely be a way to figure out what you want to do or who you want to be, the person you want to become. Because you can reflect on the thoughts and the opinions of others that are being presented to somebody that you possibly even admire. And it could help you pinpoint some things that you may feel like you need to change about yourself. And I don't mean this in a negative aspect either, like, oh, you need to mimic someone else's actions and be just like them. I just mean, there are certain things that you might think about yourself that you don't feel like you're capable of doing, because sometimes animosity will bring the feeling of, they're able to do this and I am not. And you should shove that aside. Even if what they are doing tends to be a weakness within you, you can take that and you can reflect on it and then turn around and ask yourself the question, okay, well, what are my strengths in comparison to this weakness? And it doesn't have to be about getting validation from the person that is handing the animosity over. You don't have to do it for that reason. What you could do with that is you can build on it and you can recognize what your strengths are and figure out how those strengths can be used to combat your weakness and still get you to the same place or grow as a person in the same aspect that the other person that you're feeling animosity towards is growing too. because you're always going to learn. Even if their strength is your weakness, you have strengths that are their weakness. And they negate each other. And this is the reason, that alone is the reason why you should not worry about the thoughts and the opinions of others are that give gratification to, or excuse me, gratitude towards the person you're feeling animosity against. So, as I say these things, do you tend to feel exactly why it's such a waste of time? At least, hopefully I'm making sense. Because sometimes I ramble about certain things like this, but hopefully this is making sense to you. And like I said, I'll relate to it because I felt it before. You know, I was a musician for 10 years. When I started out as a musician, we spent a good amount of time playing other people's songs that these famous artists wrote songs that we would play, and we would play them pretty well. And I would sit there and I would compare myself to the voice of the person I was trying to sing like. And this was in an immature stage of my singing career. And I would sit there and I would ask, and I would be like, man, how come I don't sound like that? How come I can't do that? And I would feel discouraged. And I'd feel very nervous if we were going to play a small show and we were going to cover a couple of songs. And I didn't feel right about it at first, and then we'd start to play them, and I was like, okay, we did okay. We did good. The song sounded good. I don't know if I sounded good. I was always pretty critical of myself. But then I hit a point to where I realized that I would sit and I had an idea. I'm like, I'm not in control of how my voice exactly sounds. I can change things and manipulate things in a certain way. I can't sound exactly like the person that I'm trying to sing as, but we are trying to cover that song. So I had the idea of sitting down and playing cover songs of famous artists who would cover other famous artist songs. And not only did the music differ, but the singer's voice would differ as well. They weren't trying to sound like the original artist. They were trying to make it their own. And in some instances, a lot of instances, it would be a beautiful work of art. You would recognize it as a cover of a song, but it would be a beautiful masterpiece of how they made it their own. And that's what they intended to do. And they made it their own in order to honor the original artist who created the song in the first place, because they admired those musicians so well that they just wanted to be themselves and do it in honor of them, for them. What they were in control of was their vocal dynamic range, their guitar playing style, their musicianship, and their own unique blend of creation. And the creativity and the encouragement that they got from that. And it was an honor. And that's what they were in control of. So I thought, that is the way I should see this as well. And that's when we started really getting into writing our originals, because what better way to help you find your own is to make a change, to come into your own, than to make a change. And by make a change, we ended up opening up our creative freedom and actually writing our own music. And then we got our style. And it developed and it evolved into what we became. And I stopped feeling animosity towards the way I couldn't sound, because I gained the maturity and I gained the growth to be happy about how these artists can write these amazing songs, even though I wasn't the one writing those amazing songs. I was encouraged by them, and they gave me inspirations, and I ended up writing songs that I was very happy to write, that I felt very good about. So to change your mindset on the aspect of animosity is a very important thing. So if you're out there and you're feeling discouraged by the way someone else is being treated, or the way someone you admire's thoughts and opinions are of somebody next to you, you do need to recognize what you are in control of, what you can change, what you cannot change, and what peace can be brought to you by not feeling discouraged by any of those circumstances. So be yourself and enjoy your strengths, recognize your weaknesses, and learn to grow from them. Recognize you're human. Believe that mistakes and failures are an opportunity to grow. That animosity is a path to encouragement. That animosity is a path to recognizing opportunity, and just be your best self. So this episode was a little bit short tonight, but I hope that everything that I said made sense, and I hope that what you can do going forward is to not feel so discouraged about any type of thing you're taking action on, because to me it's very important. So if you have a goal in mind, if you have goals in mind, or if you have dreams, chase them regardless of who's having thoughts and opinions about someone else. So if you're chasing a dream and there's someone next to you chasing the same dream and they get recognized and that you don't, I can totally understand how that can be discouraging, but don't let it be discouraging towards you. Feel happy for them and continue to grow. Because as long as you take action and you take small steps towards the bigger picture, you are going to get to where you want to go. All it takes is some time. All it takes is dedication, discipline, practice, patience, whatever it may be. But you will get there. And if you're loving what you're doing, it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If you're feeling encouraged by it, positive things are going to happen. You'll start seeing these positive things. And what happens when you start seeing and thinking these positive things? Well, you are going to naturally and organically start taking positive actions towards those things. Whatever goal you may have, you're going to automatically start gravitating towards it. And a lot of us have heard the law of attraction. And I am a firm believer in a form of that. In some kind of fashion, there is this law of attraction. Because wherever your mind gravitates, wherever your actions go, everything is going to follow suit and is going to be relative. You know, I could have the idea in my head to start a live podcast that has to do with encouragement, positivity, positive mental health, love, passion, dreams, hope, all of those things. I could have those ideas all day long. But if I did not take the action, these small things, to actually do it, there could be somebody sitting on their couch right now looking at this podcast and feeling discouraged about animosity, hearing this conversation and then feeling positive about it and like, okay, I'm willing to make the change after hearing that. What were the actions that led to this? Well, first it was having the idea of wanting it to do it. Second, it was my idea of being passionate about wanting to help others through tough things, through hard times, things that possibly make people feel uncomfortable, and feeling uncomfortable the entire time myself. A live podcast. Of course it's uncomfortable. I wouldn't be human if I didn't admit that this is uncomfortable. sitting in a room by myself, looking into a camera and hoping to get through to people, hoping to make a positive impact on people. All of it. Buying the camera, buying the microphones, setting it all up, learning how to use it all, finding a platform to stream this all on, getting all the accounts set up, posting the videos, and hoping that one person is sitting there feeling encouraged about what I'm saying. So the point I'm trying to get to is if you have this sense of discouragement because of the thoughts or opinions of others, you need to set them aside and make yourself vulnerable and take action and stop feeling negative animosity towards somebody who you feel is being recognized for starting to put in the same effort as you. So let's put a relative example together. You happen to put together your own podcast. Someone else happens to put a podcast that has the same topics as you. They're getting the recognition you're not. You're putting in the same amount of work. So you start to feel like this animosity. Well, if you feel happy for them and you continue to work, eventually you're going to get there too, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you with time? The practice, the patience, the encouragement, the positive vibes that you're going to give out, of course, you're passionate about it, they're passionate about it. It's going to happen for you eventually. So don't worry yourself with the thoughts and the opinions of other people. And if you have a dream, take action on it. If you're feeling discouraged, spin it into a positive. Feel happy about it. Feel happy for the person that you may feel animosity towards. And just enjoy your life. Just be yourself. Just work on you. Just grow. Just live. Just love. Do all those wonderful things. Because the more of that you put into your life, even though it may seem like you're flooding yourself with a lot of change and a lot of things, if you push all of those things into your life, believe it or not, it's going to bring peace. It's going to push so much out, twice as much out. It's going to take away a lot of the stress, a lot of the worry, a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the hurt, and you're going to find yourself there feeling peace. You're going to feel peace because our mind gravitates towards the opposite thing. But when you can finally free up all of that space, even though you seem to be pushing a lot in, you're going to give yourself peace. Because you're going to know who you are. You're going to know what you want to become. You're going to know where you want to head. And it's going to give you purpose. And those feelings of animosity are going to turn into feelings of joy. Joy towards the success of other people. Because that joy and that positive feeling is going to open up your eyes to opportunities. Is going to gravitate you towards the opportunities and the path that you desire. So with all of those words that I just spoke over the last 40 minutes, it all boils down to worry less and to be yourself. So if you have any questions or thoughts about what I just talked to you about, or you just want to have a conversation with me, reach out to me. My email is noroomforcomfortpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to have that conversation. If you see me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, please like, subscribe, and share. I would greatly appreciate it, especially the sharing, because I would love to reach as many people as possible. I want to spread a positive message about anyone who may be feeling down or discouraged about things. And I have a Discord chat every other week when I have this podcast on. Please, you can just jump right in and send me a message there. I'll get back to you. I will respond to you. I would relish in the opportunity to have a conversation with you. It's the reason why I do this. And after this episode's done airing, this will be published on Spotify as well. So if you want to see any of my previous episodes, those are on Spotify. They are also on YouTube. And, if you want to be a calling guest, again, email is noroomforcomfortpodcast@gmail.com. So I hope all this made sense to all of you guys. You know, if you have any questions about it, like I said, get a hold of me. But I appreciate all of you being here. And I am very happy to reach my double-digit episode 10. So that's me doing 20 weeks of this so far. So, you know, I'm getting there. I'm starting to push the half-year mark. So I'm very happy and grateful for all of it. So again, I thank you all, and you all have a good night, and we'll see you next time.